Okay. Israel is God's chosen people. Okay? The other nations are Gentiles. You got Israel and all the other people. Alright? I'm going to show you, this is what we're going to show you. That Israel kingdom was split into the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. Okay? The Jews stayed in the southern kingdom, or who the Romans called the Jews. Primarily Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Paul came out of Benjamin. Christ came out of Judah. The northern kingdom was taken out of the land under the Assyrians in 721 BC. That's almost 1,000 years, if you round it off, before Christ ever came on the scene. Okay? So, we will show you that these tribes were scattered amongst the Gentiles. So when Christ finally came on the scene, and Paul came on the scene, these tribes had no idea who they were. So what we'll show you is, there was two forms of Gentiles in the scriptures later on down the line after Christ. You had the natural Gentiles of the other nations, and you had the Israelites, which scattered into these other nations and were being taught by them and forgot who they were. And we're going to show you that's why Paul was so important. Okay? Paul had a serious mission. Not only was he an apostle for the natural Gentiles, he had to also show the Israelites that were scattered amongst the Gentiles that they were God's people. So Paul had a serious mission. We're going to show you how this happened. Let's go to 2 Kings 17. And let's start at 17.
And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight.
His sight is his land. Israel was the northern kingdom, where Ephraim was the king. Judah was the southern kingdom, where the Negro was the king. Judah. So you had the Indian tribes with Ephraim or the Puerto Ricans ruling the northern lands, if you want to look at it from our aspect today. And you had the Negro tribes ruling the southern parts. Read.
Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only.
So that's the only people that was left. Just the tribe of Judah. When it says the tribe of Judah, Judah was the king of the southern kingdom. So Benjamin and Levi were under Judah once this split happened. All right? Read on.
Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord, their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made.
Go ahead.
And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight.
So the Lord handed them over to spoilers, people that would take them down. That sound familiar?
Yes.
So when you hear about these things in history, you can relate it to our forefathers. And now you can understand why it happened. Now you can understand why it happened. Okay? Read.
For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord, and made them sin a great sin.
Go ahead.
For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight. As he had said by all his servants the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
They was carried away out of their own land to Assyria as to this day. And to this day, we still have some of the northern kingdoms still amongst them. All the Indian tribes did not come over here to the Americas. the majority of them came over. But a lot of them are still in that area. So we still have some Israelites in that area of Assyria right now. Okay? So why did the Lord do this? Because we started following the gods of the other nations. So he sent the Gentiles against us. Okay? Read on.
And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Seraphim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel.
So what happened? They started replacing the true Israelites, the people that are like Latinos today. They used to have that land. But when they left and went into Assyria, they put Gentiles and African people in the land instead of us. So these are the people that are being recognized as Sephardic Jews, or the original Jews over there in that land, or the Ethiopian Jews and all that. They know that these people weren't the original people, but they'd rather give that name to a Gentile than give it to God's people. Read.
And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, The nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land.
Go ahead.
Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land.
So they was in the land, but they didn't know how to worship the God. So lions started killing them. That lets you know the Lord be sending issues of death in different ways. It still be him. Their children were dying by lions because they didn't know how to worship in the land. Read.
Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, Carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the God of the land.
So that's why they think they're the people. They think they're the people because they seen that they couldn't survive in the land. So the king say, listen, go take one of those priests of Israel and go teach them how to serve the God of Israel. And so they started practicing our customs, and then they started handing those customs down to their children and their children's children. Now they think they're the people.
Okay.
Without going into the origin of the fact that we taught them the God of the land. Okay? Y'all with me? So that's how you got your Babylonian or your Ethiopian or your other nations claiming to be Jews. That's why. And I don't want to get off the path, but I want to say something else. People say, well, there's no DNA tracing you back to the people of God. Well, where's your DNA test? Well, it'd be tough to get a DNA test when you're testing our blood against people that are not even the people of the land. So how can the DNA test be conclusive if you're testing us against Gentiles? And then you're the people that's over the DNA test. What you going to do? Take Elder Zah's blood and then take the Rabbi Schweizberg's blood and see if it's the same? So we can't go on DNA because the people of the land, DNA does not match us. Because we were taken out of the land. Okay? I wanted to put that in there because we hear that, well, where's the DNA test? But you could look at our DNA and see that we're not Hamitic. You can take an Egyptian blood and take our blood, and it won't come up right. Ethiopians in our blood, it won't come up right. Okay? Now, we got 2nd Ezra 17, right? You got that? So we were taken out of the land, which are the Indian tribes. And the Bible prophesied out of the 1611 that we would come over here. That the Indian tribes would come over here. All right? Let's get it. 2nd Ezra 13 and 39 out of the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra 13 and 39. So what happened once they left Assyria? Read.
And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
So came they into another land. That's the New World. Okay? So the Indian tribes were over here years, thousands of years before we got here. They started traveling over the waters to get over to the New World, which we are here now today. They started traveling in 718 BC. They got ships and started coming over to this land. Okay? Before they came here, no other people were here. It's going to prove that. Read.
But they took this counsel